Can science help fight crime? A new study from the University of Pennsylvania found that sending electrical currents to the prefrontal cortex may control people prone to physical and sexual assault. Join us via Skype to weigh in is board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Domenick Sportelli. Dr. Sportelli, welcome back, good friend.
Hello, how are you guys?
So tell us a little bit more about this study.
All right, this is fascinating stuff, guys. I have always been very, very interested in the connection between the biology of the brain and human behavior, and this study is a testament to that link. So we have the frontal lobe of our brain. We've talked about that quite a bit, and that's responsible for higher mental functioning. It's motivation, planning, social interaction, impulse control. It's sort of like the judge and jury of our brain. We have the center of our brain, the cortex, which is more like emotional responses. But the frontal lobe says, hey, wait a second, maybe that's not the best decision, or maybe that's a good decision. So with imaging studies, we've actually seen this now, that people's frontal lobe is activated when they're making very, very important decisions. We also know that people that have traumatic brain injury to the frontal lobes and other damage to the frontal lobes have a higher likelihood of impulse control problems, aggression, sexual assault. So what this study did was try and correlate that and show that. So it was done by researchers at the University of Pennsylvania. And what they did was they took 81 participants and they did something called transcranial direct current. It's a very low dose current that's not, it doesn't hurt, there's no real side effects. And they took two groups. They split up the groups of these 80 people. Half of them had this transcranial direct current stimulation for 30 seconds. The other half had a sham treatment. It just was nothing, basically. After that treatment, they did a questionnaire, and the intent for these people to commit physical and sexual assault was decreased by 47 to 70%, respectively.
This is fascinating because this is really kind of looking at a physiologic or biological basis for cognition and behavior. And I'm curious, Dr. Sportelli, do you see this playing out kind of in a legal aspect for people who do create or to commit violent or sexual crimes?
Yeah, it certainly can. And I think the one thing that we really have to remember here is this is real preliminary stuff. This is just putting our toe in the water of this kind of research. So there's probably several years ahead of us to really hone in on the skills here and what we're seeing. But still, even in the recent past, we've seen a lot of legal cases use traumatic brain injury to the frontal lobe as a legal defense for impulsive and aggressive and sexual deviant behavior.
So the idea here is that in some way, shape, or form with these currents, you're activating this damaged frontal lobe to maybe help control your impulses. Maybe someone has desires to commit sexual crimes or violent crimes, and somehow, some way, which again, you say it's very preliminary, we might be able to help these individuals with these, I'll call them impulsivities that are to commit crimes that are dangerous. Would there, if this did work, and let's just say someone's using a traumatic brain injury as a defense in a trial, would there ever come a time where a judge would say, or a jury, okay, we're going to sentence you for the crime, but part of your sentencing is this therapy. And then we're going to follow up and see if the therapy works. And if it does, and your frontal cortex is working properly, we'll let you go.
I mean, if it was approved as an approved treatment, I think it's going to be part of their rehabilitation program. So, Domenick, I mean, in a way, this is brain stimulation without having to go directly into the brain, right?
Oh, it's actually minimally invasive. The side effects are minimal. The biggest side effect is a little bit of skin irritation where they do the stimulation and maybe a little bit of mild discomfort when they're giving the stimulation. So very, very minimally invasive. And you know what? The implications of this years down the line could be tremendous, as you guys are saying.
It's important to point out, though, the transcutaneous stimulation was 20-minute sessions.
Right.
This was not done on people who already are known to be sexual offenders, and it also wasn't done on people with known traumatic brain injury. This was sort of a proof of concept that you can modify impulses and behavior by physiologically modulating the brain. So they haven't actually tried it out in people who have this known deficiency. So like Dr. Sportelli is saying, I think there is still a lot of research to be done. But this is the first of its kind to show that, so it's fascinating.
Domenick, everything is controlled between the ears, right? And so many things that if we start, if this evolves even more, direct brain stimulation, I mean, all these issues we're dealing with, overeating and gambling and addictions.
A lot of thorny ethical issues as well, correct. Which is, wait a minute, so you gamble too much. Let's just use this device on you. Hey, you got arrested. Let's go.
Well, I'm not saying you force these treatments, but those you would think that people want to get better. Yeah,
theoretically. But I think down the line there could be a lot of ethical and social as well as legal implications to this.
Absolutely.
I think it's fascinating.